Hey everyone, welcome back to Mic'd Up with Mama Shaun, the podcast where heart meets hustle. I am your host, ReShaun Webb, the early childhood educator, the business owner, the mentor, the speaker, the podcast mama, and your personal reminder that healing and leadership can go hand in hand. So, we are in a new month. June is here, and so is the season of loves and weddings and engagements, right? Today's episode is all about love, not just romantic love, but the kind that shows up in your calling, your community, and most importantly, within yourself, right? So, in this episode, we're going to talk about love, the love we lead with, right? Um, it's funny because what I've realized is that love isn't always candlelight and butterflies, right? I'm a Disney fan if you know about me. And so romance and love and happily ever after is always on the menu for me, right? But it's not always about that. And sometimes, love is challenging. Love is a battlefield. Um, and we have to figure out how to navigate it. Sometimes it's clocking in when you're exhausted, right? You're overwhelmed and tired, but you still got to show up for who? For those that need you, for those that you love, for those that are looking to you to inspire them, right? We show up. I show up for everyone, but low key, not everybody shows up for me. And that's okay because it's about what I do for them, right? It's about, okay, well, this is who I am, whether they do it or not. This is who I am. Sometimes love is about choosing peace when you could choose pettiness. Ooh, now how big is that? That's a big one. We could be petty. We can be a petty Betty, right? Or a petty Kevin. Okay. We can be petty. We know how to be petty, right? But sometimes we have to be the bigger person and choose peace. In June, the world blossoms, and so do we. The world blossoms, flowers bloom, all the things that just make for a beautiful Hallmark love story. This is the month where we honor graduations, weddings, Father's Day, and the midpoint of the year. But in the middle of all of this, have you paused to ask yourself, how am I loving myself? No, really, how am I loving myself? How am I showing up? How does it look? Okay. How am I showing up in love and leadership and in legacy? How am I doing all that? Because real love, real love lets you grow. Real love lets you rest. Real love doesn't rush your process. It meets you there. At some point, we're going to go through and talk about our healing journey, and we're going to talk about all the things. One of the things I remember is someone pushing me to overcome the pain and the heartache. Like, okay, this is enough. And because they were my elder, I was respectful. But then when I came to my senses, when I got my heart broken again, I refused to let anybody tell me that I was done. I refused to let anybody dictate how long I mourn this relationship that has died. Right? When we go through a breakup, you're going through a death, right? I've never been married, I've never been divorced, but they say that divorce is like a death, it's like a funeral. When you break up with someone or when you cut ties with someone, it's a death. And you need to give yourself time to heal, time to grieve, and time to mourn, right? And so it's very important that how do you love? How do you love? Do you love based on conditions, situations? Do you love based on what's a benefit for you? One of the things I will say is when I was in love almost, sheesh, 7 years ago, 7 years ago, September, Labor Day, I'll never forget it. I remember feeling like I was on cloud nine every day. Even, but we had our rough moments. I was like, oh, but I still loved that man, right? I still loved that man. Although it was, we had our moments like most couples do, I still loved in spite of. That's one thing I'm good at is when I'm in a relationship, oh honey, you can best believe you ain't got to worry about me and where I'm going. You can best believe that I am 100% down with you, right? Because love is not conditional. Love is based on the thoughts, the sacrifice, the doing more for your partner so your partner can be good, checking in with your partner's mental space, checking in with them to make sure they're good. Do you need anything? How can I help? How can being in a relationship, I learned a lot being with that man. We were 18 years apart, but I learned so much from being with that man that I still carry to this day. And one thing I learned being with him was when you love someone, you are going to be concerned about them. And if they're concerned about you, we're going back and forth. Everybody's taken care of. Everybody's taken care of, right? And so we have to look at how do you love, right? How do you love the person that you're with? Everyone's getting married. Everyone's, all the things that come with love and marriage. And so, how do you love? Do I love because it's convenient for me and I need someone in my corner? I'm just gonna go ahead and love, say I'm in love just so I can have someone on my arm. How do you love? All right. So now let's look at a season of becoming. Okay. I have been in a season of becoming ever since we broke up Labor Day 2018. What have I been becoming? I was becoming a lot. I was becoming angry. I was becoming bitter. I was becoming hateful. I was becoming resentful. I was becoming revengeful. I know and knew secrets, right? I was becoming revengeful. You hurt me. You need to hurt like you hurt me. But then I was like, you know what? That's not the becoming I want to be, right? We were planning a life. We were planning a future. We were planning a marriage, a wedding, a covenant, a lifelong partnership. So what was I becoming? After all that happened, I started going into a season of purging things that no longer made me feel good, purging things that no longer made me feel special, purging things that no longer made me feel amazing about who I was, purging things about who I am now. Oh, I didn't like who I was. So I had to change some things. I had to shut people out, shut people down, so that way I can start healing, right? So then I started purging the anger, purging the resentment, purging the vengeful, purging all those things I just mentioned because I knew I still wanted to be a wife. I still wanted to love someone and someone to love me back. Right? So that kind of season where you're purging back what no longer fits and preparing for what God is still unfolding. I was in pain that had me wanting death. I was in that kind of pain because I loved that man with all of my heart. No other woman, and I stand on this, no other woman will ever love that man like I did. I'm not going to go into details why and how, but just know I said what I said, right? Because I loved with all of my heart. But in the middle of that, I had to let all that go so I can finally get what God really had for me. I had to sit and go through because that was not God's will for my life. I made the decision. I'm the one that not God, not the Lord. No, it was me. What do I do? How do I handle this? What do I want? I deserve. Everybody else's I deserve. And so if you're listening to this and you're single, I want you to say this to yourself. You're not waiting, you're preparing. We are waiting and we are preparing. I'm right there with you too. You have a friend, you have a sister. If you need me to be your Mama Shaun, I will be that because I understand, especially for my girls and guys who have grown up in the church. We've seen and heard more things than we would like to. But guess what? We're still waiting and we are preparing. Someone had to remind me of that today. And I'm like, thank you because whew, I be feeling some kind of way. And for those that are in a relationship, ask yourself, is this love growing me or is it shrinking me? But see, because look at what Jesus did for us. He died on the cross for us so we can go to heaven, right? That's not shrinking me. He wants to spend time with me. He wants to spend time with you. That's not shrinking me. That's growing me. That's helping me. It's helping me to glow and grow. Why wouldn't I want a relationship like that? I've learned to honor love in every form. I see it in the teachers who show up for their kids, even when their hearts are tired. I watch my teachers come in every day. We have all boys pretty much. And I watch these girls. They have lives of their own, situations of their own. They still show up and give these kids all that they can. Some days it's not 100. It might be 60, but we have enough to cover the 40. Some days it might be 90. All right, I can cover the 10. Some days it might be 10. All right, we're going to divvy up the 90, right? Because we love what we do. We're just having an off day. I see it in my parents trying again every morning. I have a lot of single moms, and every day they strive to do what's best for their child to the best of their ability. I am blessed. I am blessed that they ask me and I get to be a part of their kids' lives. We get to be a part of we don't have to. I do it because I genuinely want to. I love my kids. I can literally hang out with my kids and I do in my free time because my kids are just that cool. I got some cool kids. Why? Because we can sit and have a conversation. We can sit and show love and talk with them like I'm talking to you about life and what they think about things. And they're only 3. But from their perspective, this is a big, bad, brave world. I see it in myself. I choose to show up even when I don't feel seen. And being in the leadership position, you don't feel seen most times because it's about the vision, the brand, about the team. As a leader, I'm going to be honest, and I'm not putting my staff on Front Street. Sometimes they don't, well, majority of the time, they don't ask me how I am doing, but I ask them how they're doing all the time. And I don't expect them to ask. It's not about that. I do because I'm genuinely concerned. I have pregnant teachers. How you doing? How you feeling? Right? Because that is how I love. That's how I show my gratitude. Right? So that's very important. So the next segment of this is for those that don't know, I wrote a book, Dear Future Husband. No, I'm sorry. Life After Heartbreak. Now what? I did write Dear Future Husband, but anyway. And so we want to do a segment called Dear Future Husband on tonight's episode. Now, I want to share a letter, and a personal letter, one that's sitting in my spirit for a while. Dear future husband, I don't need a rescue. I've already survived the storms. I need a partner, someone who loves the layers of me, someone who understands that I pour into others all day, and sometimes I need to be poured into too. I pray you love God more than you love me, because that's the kind of love I want to stand on. I pray you find joy in my laugh, comfort in my strength, peace in my silence. Until we meet, know that I'm not waiting, I'm becoming, and I hope you are too. Love, Mama Shaun. In this episode, touched you. In this episode, we talked about healing, leading, or preparing. I see you. I see you struggling. I see you trying. I see you crying. I see you wishing for someone to acknowledge you. I see you. I hear you. I want you to send this to a friend, someone who needs to hear this. or even to yourself. If this episode touched you, I want you to send this to yourself. If you know someone dealing with this, send this episode to them. Let it be your reminder that June isn't just for summer, it's for soul work. And I had to do a lot of work. So tonight's mic'd up moment is this: love starts with you. Whether you're planting seeds for your future, nurturing a relationship, or walking through healing, choose love that builds, not breaks. This June, let your heart bloom too. So here's your homework. Subscribe to Mic'd Up with Mama Shaun, wherever the podcasts are. You want to be a guest or share your story? I want to hear it. Email me, mic'dupwithmamashaun@yahoo.com. And if you're planning a Disney trip, I want you to email me at mic'dupwithmamashaun and let's get you on that Disney trip. I got 2 coming up and I am excited. Let Belle's Hideaway take good care of you. Until next time, stay mic'd up and loved up.